Welcome back to the show. You know how much we love the theater on this show, and in particular community theater. So many are coming back. Everybody is so excited, not only the cast and the crew, but of course audience is excited. I count myself as one of those audience members, and Phoenix Players are celebrating a big anniversary. It's their 20th anniversary, and joining me is their artistic director and the director of a new production called Halfway There, Andre Dimitrijevic. Welcome to the show, Andre. Great to have you here.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Let's talk about Phoenix Players. This is a big year. I mean, 20th anniversary, a lot to celebrate. Give us a little history.
20 years ago, yes. 2001 is when they were formed. They were people who were with the Nepean Little Theater.
Okay.
And when that theater folded, then hence the name, Phoenix, of course.
Rising up. Yes,
there you go.
I like it.
There you go.
Very nice.
And they started, I'm told that in the very early days, they performed in a park just across from the Lord Elgin.
Oh, really?
I understand that.
Okay.
And then eventually they moved to the Chamber and most recently at the Gladstone.
Talk about, you and I were speaking before the show, just the excitement of being back for the team and the community in general. What's it been like?
It's been great. It's been 3 years. In fact, our last show in 2020 was canceled 3 weeks before we opened. So
right.
We were all very anxious to get back in. At the same time, with a little bit of trepidation. I mean, these are difficult times.
Of course.
But nonetheless, the cast was extremely keen to get in, and it's interesting to watch the audiences. I mean, they're coming back to theater, to community theater at the Gladstone, and the reaction. Everybody seems to be so pleased that this is back on,
yeah.
And it's a great show. It's a great comedy. It's a nice family show.
Well, and I think it's a great choice as well, because it really talks about human relationships and what's something we've been missing out on, right, for 3 years, is human relationships. For people that aren't familiar with the story of Halfway There, tell us a little bit about the story.
So, first of all, Halfway There is because it takes place in Stewiacke, Nova Scotia, which is it's a real town.
Yes.
And its claim to fame is it's halfway between the North Pole and the equator.
Right.
So that's where it comes from. So it's the story of four friends, four women friends who get together for a coffee every day and discuss the world, in essence. And their friendship lasts a long time. Some people went away and came back. And attached to that there's also a love story.
Okay.
There's a young doctor from Toronto who comes in, much to the dismay of the locals. They don't like Toronto. They keep telling him.
Okay.
And the younger woman who runs the cafe, who's the waitress at the cafe, and him hit it off. Eventually, the initial meetings are probably not that friendly necessarily, but it's a fun show. It really talks to, as you said, to friendship of people of different types. They all have gone through different experiences, but they come together as friends and they support one another. And in these times, I think that's essential.
Yeah, I agree, and the witty banter as well, right? That's what this particular production is really known for.
Witty banter, some local idioms from the West that come in every so often. Some songs. There's some music accompanying that we picked from the East rather, which was rather appropriate. And the ladies are funny, and they tease the young man when he comes in. They talk about him. They think he's great, and when he complains, says, "I can hear you," because they say, "Well,
nice.
We don't like to talk behind people's backs."
Tell me about the cast. How would you describe this cast?
Interesting cast. Most of them have done a fair bit of theater. Some of them have come back after a hiatus of a number of years, in at least one case. And interestingly, I believe I'm correct that 3 of them have never acted with Phoenix Players, which is also nice to get new blood coming in and play with us. So that's been very helpful and very interesting to watch the differences and to watch how each character blends into how each actor blends into the character that they're representing. Now, whether that was just excellent casting on my part, or, but I think it's mostly their talent. That
you can take a little credit too, right? Tell me about your role for people that aren't familiar with the role of a director and what part that you play in a production. Tell us about it.
Well, in this case, I actually picked the play to be done, and that was one of these. Beyond that, it's interpreting. I mean, the author obviously puts down a lot of items in his play, but the details about who looks at what tone that your sentence says, how do you deliver certain lines? You may need to stop and then continue. If somebody says something like, which is one of the lines, I love you, if you say it, I love you a little bit, it's one thing. But if you say it, I love you a little bit, that little gap just changes the dynamic.
Absolutely.
And you have to look for those things to add to the realism of having four people who look to the audience as if they're eavesdropping on a conversation in a cafe.
How many productions would you normally put on in a year?
Phoenix Players puts on 2 productions, one in the fall, one in the spring, and the spring production this year.
What have you got?
This year it's Agatha Christie's and my mind just
That's
went.
okay. I've got Mousetrap. The Mousetrap.
Course,
I mean, one of the greatest, right?
One of the greatest,
I mean,
one of the great classics. That's right. So we're looking for a bit of a period piece as well, whether this is modern. So we're looking forward to having that one in the spring.
And you do have some health and safety protocols in place. You're encouraging people, if they're comfortable, to wear a mask, and you have a couple of special nights as well.
We have 3 performances where we left one row empty. So and the one actually on Saturday, which is coming in at 2 p.m. this coming Saturday, is one of those performances where there's some social distances built into the audience.
Yeah, great idea, because again, as I tell people, we're not out of COVID. I know people are getting back to a sense of normalcy, so I think it's a great idea for sure. Andre, really appreciate the time, and congratulations to you and the entire cast and crew. I know how excited you are. I'll just remind everybody, that is running until November the 26th, and if you've never been to the Gladstone, it's just a wonderful, intimate theater, beautiful spot, a great lobby as well that really welcomes you into the space. We'll be back with more after this.